What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD mode video. So today we are going to be discussing some of the weapons in action with these new patch notes that just came out for Season 3. So yes, the Season 3 update is officially out for, I think, everyone. I think there might be some people that are missing it, but if I'm correct, I think every version already has the update. But yes, I do want to make some videos, I guess separate videos on, different weapons individually on their changes. But right now, let's just focus on the QXR because this is the one that probably has the most attention. So this update seems to be focusing heavily on a lot of SMGs that did kind of need some changes, such as the QXR, the one that you're seeing right now, the MAC-10, the MX-9, the Shecom, just, a wide range of SMGs. Of course, there are changes also to assault rifles and LMGs as well, but I would say that this was a much more SMG-heavy type of patch notes. And the one SMG that got the most changes was probably the QXR, and obviously it was pretty necessary. At least for the most part, depending on what changes there were. So the QXR, I mean, yes, it had a time to shine within, I think, year 2, but really it was only like meta for like a season, and then it just got nerfed to the ground. And ever since then, it really has not been changed too much. I mean, there were some different patches made to this weapon across various seasons, but never really enough to make it extremely viable or anywhere near. I forgot which season in year 2 where this weapon was meta, but again, like I said, it was only there for like really just one season. And ever since then, it just hasn't really performed that well. The changes that were made were actually from the attachments. There was never really any changes made to the gun itself. But yeah, for like the marksman and the monolithic suppressor, those were the two things that changed the most, where, they made the attachments a lot lighter, so the gun wouldn't really be as heavy. And the heaviness of this weapon was something that I kind of had an issue with. It's basically the primary thing that kind of turned me off with this weapon, because I'll be honest, I mean, the weapon is heavy as hell. I mean, I would say it's probably one of the most heaviest SMGs that there is, but after they made those changes to the attachments, I was a little bit more inclined to use them because, of course, it's, it doesn't make the gun as heavy as it was. It doesn't make it as heavy as like an LMG or something. But what they did in this update was absolutely phenomenal and a little bit overdone, I would say, specifically with one change. But when it comes to all the other ones, I would say it's actually, they did a solid job with this one. So what they specifically changed is as follows. So the stomach multiplier was increased from, I guess, 1 times to 1.1 times. They also improved the BSA from 2920 to 2415, which is a massive one. That's the one change that I'm kind of in disagreement with. But as for the enhanced bolts, they kind of reworked the range values. Obviously, kind of appropriate given that this thing's going to be a laser at this point. And they also reduced the ADS time by 16%. But it's only in effect if you have the enhanced bolt on, so you don't get that benefit if you don't use it. So the stomach multiplier, as small as it may seem, it actually does help the gun immensely, and not only for the enhanced bolt portion of the gun, but even if you don't want to use it, it does help it pretty well. I mean, it becomes a much more consistent 4-shot machine, but of course the only downside is the fact that it's not going to be as light as it would be if you were having the enhanced bolt. So you could either have this gun set in 2 ways. You could have it become a 4-shot machine at a long range without using the enhanced bolts, but the drawback is that the gun's going to be just kind of as heavy as it was last season. But of course, if you want to go for a lighter build, you're going to have to use the enhanced bolts along with other various attachments in order to, run around a little bit more fluidly, I would say. So the change that I was not really too much in agreement with was the BSA change. I mean, the bullet spread wasn't really my main concern with the QXR before this update. I would say it was all right for what it was, and I wouldn't have minded if they helped with the accuracy just a little bit. But I think they went a little bit too far. They made it kind of like a, I guess, almost M13 or maybe FR556 levels of accuracy. I mean, that's probably one of the most accurate assault rifles in the game. But yeah, I think they kind of overdid it with that one, because now it's like you could put a complete light build and it won't even affect the gun at all. Something that is not mentioned as well is the fact that if you do use Enhanced Bolt, it does decrease the bullet spread accuracy by 12%. Yeah, I don't think it was mentioned in the patch notes, or maybe I just skimmed over it, but yeah, that is another drawback to the attachment. But again, something like that isn't really going to make too much of a difference. And I would say probably the best route to choose for this weapon is probably the Enhanced Bolt route, because I mean, either way, they kind of both kill around the same speed, especially even if it's like long distance. I feel like they're kind of both interchangeable. The only difference is, of course, the speed, but time to kill feels more or less the same, at least in my eyes. But if you do want a more, I guess, diverse set of attachments, I wouldn't recommend using Enhanced Bolt because it already takes one anyways, but I don't know. I mean, either way, this gun is pretty dominant. It doesn't really matter which way you kind of use it. Of course, close range, that's where things, of course, I guess, would change. The Enhanced Bolt would definitely benefit the weapon a lot more than it would if you weren't using it. But, you know, in some cases where you have to shoot mid-range or just slightly, you know, like in between mid-range and close range, yeah, at that point, the differences kind of disappear a little bit. So at the end of the day, I mean, the QXR at this point, it might be close to meta. If not, it has to be part of it. I mean, there's no way it can't be at this point. But with this Enhanced Bolt, I'm sure it could replace stuff like the Switchblade or maybe even the Fennec. So this is something that we're going to have to wait and see. But my money's on, yeah, this thing's going to be meta. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like. Make sure to subscribe for some more COD mobile content. I'll see you guys next time.